You know, this whole life thing, it's interesting. The things you do, the people you meet, the ones you love, the impacts and the experiences, well, it all mixes up and forms into what your life becomes. I first came to Alaska 4 years ago visiting my brother, who at the time was stationed in Anchorage, and I instantly fell in love. Something about Alaska tugged at me. And I remember it vividly, standing maybe 10 feet up in a tree, looking out of this small little valley, and I realized how much I love filming. Anything, but especially nature. And that's when I decided I wanted to start my YouTube channel. And so I did. Over 100 videos now across 4 years of on and off filming, but it wasn't taking root. I had never truly devoted myself to continually making videos non-stop. And I believe Alaska plays a massive role in what's to come. Being here in Alaska, it's another world. Every time I come back, I'm always hit with that same feeling. Just one of those things you have to experience yourself to understand. I always find myself wanting to explore it, which brought me to September 2023. "4,000 miles, 5 flights, 24-hour layovers, and I finally arrived at the true north, the last frontier. Nothing but endless expanse of wilderness. Even the name Alaska is derived from the Aleut word Alyeska, meaning great land. Alaska is so much more than the frigid ice and the snow that comes to mind. It's beautiful, soaring, ice-capped mountains kissing the sky, down to the rivers and the oceans full of life, with an unreal sight 360 degrees around. Everywhere you look, as my girlfriend loves to describe it, it's like living in a Bob Ross painting. Traveling through Alaska feels like stepping into a postcard. Everywhere you turn, there's a story etched into the landscape. What if I told you there's a U.S. state so vast you could fit Texas inside it twice, yet it has fewer people than many small cities? Welcome to Alaska, a land of extremes, beauty, and a history as wild as its landscapes. Alaska is home to towering mountains, sprawling tundras, and majestic glaciers, but before it became part of the United States, Alaska's story began long before maps or borders. The region was originally inhabited by indigenous peoples, including the Inuit, Aleut, and various native Alaskan tribes who thrived here for thousands of years with their deep understanding of the land and sea. Fast forward to 1741, when a Russian explorer, Vitus Bering, landed on Alaska's shores, claiming it for Russia. For over 100 years, Alaska was part of the Russian Empire, mainly used for fur trading. But in 1867, something unexpected happened. Enter Secretary of State William H. Seward, who struck a deal to buy Alaska for $7.2 million. Just 2 cents an acre. Critics called it Seward's folly, laughing at what they thought was a useless frozen wasteland. But the joke was on them. Alaska turned out to be a treasure trove, with gold discovered in the late 19th century, sparking massive migrations during the Klondike Gold Rush. Later, its oil reserves become one of America's most valuable resources. Today, Alaska is still the largest state in the U.S., covering over 663,000 square miles. That's bigger than California, Texas, and Montana combined. It's also home to Denali, North America's tallest mountain, standing at over 20,300 feet. And if you're a wildlife lover like me, Alaska is and was and forever will be a dream. Polar bears, bald eagles, humpback whales, you name it, Alaska has it. And let's not forget the Northern Lights, also known as Aurora Borealis, a dazzling light show you can see from many parts of the state. You can see her just dancing in the sky. She's beautiful. With fewer than 1 million residents, Alaska is still wild, rugged, and untamed. And so are the people. Whether they're indigenous communities preserving ancient traditions, fishermen braving those icy waters, or adventurers chasing the northern lights, it is what makes Alaska truly unique. "600 feet of ice below stands between us and the Matanuska River. This frozen giant, nestled in the Chugach Mountains of Alaska, is more than just a landscape of ancient ice. It's a journey through time, a natural wonder, and a living piece of Earth's history. But this adventure doesn't just stop there. We explore some of Alaska's heritage, some of the most impressive forms of creativity, and we can't forget the wildlife. This is our journey to the Matanuska Glacier." We got a long haul ahead of us. We're traveling nearly 250 miles, leaving Soldotna, and our first stop is in Anchorage. But before we can even get there... What's that? Mountain goats? Nope. These are Dal sheep, but they're just as impressive as mountain goats. They love it up here, scaling these rock cliffs like it's nobody's business. They can run up nearly vertical cliff faces faster than I can run in a straight line. He sees me. He's like, "What are you doing up here? You're not a bear, I'm gonna go back to eating." Aren't they adorable? Dal sheep are notoriously known for their massive curled horns that the males use for those thundering clashes. Woo! No thanks, fellas. It's cold. I don't got fur like them, so I'm heading up. Beautiful animals. What a great pit stop. I could hang out all day with them, but we have a glacier to climb. We aren't on the road for long before we reach Anchorage. We stop here for some of the greatest forms of creativity I have ever seen. Ice is the topic of this video, and for good reason. Not only can you hike through it, have snowball fights, what you're about to see puts the regular old Frosty the Snowman to shame. Look at all these masterpieces. Stunning, breathtaking. It is incredible to see what can be done with ice. We passed through just in time for Anchorage's annual Snow Sculpture Championship. Whew. Say that 5 times in a row. Every year, masterpieces like this are crafted from the hands and minds of truly talented people. And if you ask me, there was an easy winner. But the creativity didn't stop at ice. Alaska is full of Native American heritage, and it was on full display. What you're about to see may be disturbing or upsetting, but to natives of Alaska, this is a way of life, and nothing goes to waste. These are the bones of animals. I'm not the biggest fan of these sort of things, but I can't take away from the pure artistry, each one handcrafted into these relics of Native American history and ancient lineage. The first Alaskans arrived here thousands of years ago via the Bering Land Bridge. That's that stretch of land that once connected Alaska to Russia some odd 20,000 years ago, and that has since been reclaimed by the ocean. Back on the road again, almost 2 hours later, and we finally made it. This is our base camp, where we're all waiting, eager to go, and our chariots have arrived. Now that is my kind of transport. Let's hit it. Stretching over 24 miles long and roughly covering 4 miles in width at the terminus, also known as the Glacier Toe, which is the end of the glacier, Matanuska is the largest accessible glacier by car in the United States. Just imagine, you're driving along the scenic Glen Highway and suddenly There it is, a vast sheet of ice that's been slowly moving for thousands of years. At nearly 2 miles thick in places, this glacier is like nature's own time capsule, preserving a record of Earth's climate from ages of past. But how does a glacier like Matanuska form? Well, it all begins with snowfall. A lot of snowfall. Year after year, snow piles up in these cold mountains. As the snow gets buried, it compresses into ice, and over centuries, this ice forms a glacier.
Just got done from the glacier. Thing's cool. Look at how narrow this path is.
And we see all the swirling in the sill. That is evidence that it was flowing, because if it was not flowing, it would be straight lines.
Glaciers are constantly on the move too. Matanuska inches forward about 1 foot per day, flowing like a slow motion river. In fact, as it moves, it carves and shapes the landscape beneath it, creating valleys and leaving behind massive rocks that is carried for miles. The ice takes approximately 250, even 400 years to form up glacier and advance to the terminus. The ice of an active glacier always moves forwards due to gravity. Like water in a river, the ice will flow down the valley. Exploring Matanuska is like stepping into another world. You can walk across the surface, see towering walls of ice, and even venture into magical ice caves.
Oh, that's awesome. Look out, here, wait till you see this. Oh. Wow. Oh. Oh. You barely fit through.
This whole little network was carved out by melting ice. Pretty incredible.
It's so pretty.
It's so soft.
Absolutely incredible. This has been the coolest thing. Look at the ice. Oh my god. Matanuska, strongly recommend. Wow. We are in a crevasse. A crevasse?
The glacier has crevasses, deep cracks that form as the glacier bends and shifts, and meltwater rivers that run like crystal clear veins across its surface. Just think of it. This icy wonderland formed over thousands of years ago. It is now right at your fingertips, and yet it's still very much alive. During the warmer months, meltwater channels form carrying ice-cold water that is so pure you could drink from it, straight from the source.
You just gotta find out for yourself. Beautiful. It's funny, you know, I have a bum ankle and supposed to rest and relax. We went and climbed a glacier.
My backpack.
Visiting Matanuska is more than just a sightseeing trip. It's a chance to walk on a piece of the past and connect yourself with the forces that shape our world. Whether you're seeking adventure or simply looking to experience the raw beauty of nature, Matanuska is a simple reminder of just how small we are and how large the forces of nature can be. So if you ever find yourself in Alaska, take the road less traveled, hike up the glacier, feel the wind, drink from the springs, and remember, you're standing on a living piece of Earth's history. Zombie frogs. I'm being for real. Alaska has one of the coolest frog species in the entire world. Emphasis on the coolest frogs. Now, Alaska is known for a lot of things. Bears, moose, mountains, freezing cold temperatures. Amphibians, it's not really one of them. But what if I told you right here in Alaska is a frog that is so well adapted to its environment that when winter strikes, it freezes solid like a block of ice. To say I was ill-prepared to try and find these frogs is an understatement. Coming from Florida, I can find you a frog within 5 minutes of any location that you tell me that I have to go and find you a frog. They're everywhere. And I thought, I know where frogs live. I'll be able to find frogs. Not here. Not a chance. I was unsuccessful at finding these frogs. I looked under logs, I went through swamps, I looked here, I looked here, I looked there, I looked over there, I looked everywhere for weeks to no success.
It really is quite difficult trying to find something that can fit in the palm of your hand in a giant forest like this.
When you think of frogs, you think of tropical swamps, jungles, and ponds. Frogs are ectothermic, just like alligators and all the rest of the reptiles, which means their body temperature will always match their surroundings, and they rely completely on the warmth from the sun. But the Alaska wood frog, being one of the most freeze-tolerant species, thrives in some of the coldest temperatures on Earth. As winter approaches, temperatures in Alaska plummet, well below freezing in some cases. For most animals, this means hibernation or migration. Most frogs hibernate deep under the water in the winter. They lie dormant but never get below freezing. But the Alaska wood frog has added its own little twist to the mix, a superpower if I might add.
These wood frogs will burrow under their substrate like these dead leaves and this grass and mud, and they etch out their own little hole. And then
the wood frog literally freezes solid. Ice forms in its body cavities and under its skin, while its internal organs remain unfrozen. This incredible adaptation allows the frogs to survive Alaska's harshest of winters every single year. But how is this possible? How do these zombie frogs do it? The secret is in the blood. The wood frog produces glucose, a natural antifreeze, in its liver. This glucose prevents ice crystals from forming in its cells, which would otherwise cause irreversible and fatal damage.
Now remember when I said these frogs are ectothermic and they don't hibernate in the water like most frogs? So actually they kind of get a jump start. As soon as the air temperature starts warming up, they'll literally begin to start thawing. And they'll be like little slimy ice cubes that are just melting away, and they actually will start working their way out of their little burrow that they made, and their immediate goal is to make it to the closest swamp, bog, body of water, and they instantly start breeding.
Unfortunately, frogs all around the world are suffering from pollution and habitat fragmentation. Here specifically, wood frogs have the documented highest rate of limb and eye abnormalities, meaning small legs, missing legs, and even misshape. Frogs are environmental indicators. We have to look after them. The Alaska wood frog is the definition of ingenuity. Its unique survival strategy not only fascinates scientists, but also reminds us that the incredible adaptations that animals have evolved to thrive in every corner of our planet. The symbol of the United States of America, the symbol of freedom and power. When you think of the bald eagle, where do you see them? Soaring over beautiful mountains, snatching salmon out of the frigid rivers. How about congregated by the thousands, ripping through garbage at the city landfill? Why are they here? What's the reasons behind America's heroic bird eating from human garbage? And are they truly living up to their name as the trash eagle? I've been told that bald eagles are like glorified buzzards or trash birds, but I didn't expect it to be quite literally. Now, trash birds is a term referred to birds that bird watchers see commonly, which is so funny to me, because for me at least, seeing a bald eagle back in Florida, it's a moment. It's awesome. And here, they're like seagulls back at home. They're everywhere. Thousands of them. I'd start counting, but they blur together. The longer you stare, the more you see. Absolutely everywhere you look, there's one near garbage, on garbage, or munching on something in the garbage. But they are prolific scavengers, especially winter months. It's more common. Makes sense. Food's limited, winter's harsh, really harsh. But this, the city dump? Trash? Jeez. Here's a fun fact. The year was 1782, when Congress adopted a national symbol, a bird to represent our nation's freedom and democracy, and on June 20th, 1782, that bird was the wild turkey. That is if Benjamin Franklin had got his way. Thankfully, he was outvoted, and today we are represented by the fierce bald eagle and not the turkey. Bald eagles are incredibly resourceful birds. When they see a chance to grab a quick meal, they'll take it. Unfortunately, this sometimes means turning to the garbage dumps or landfills. While their natural diet consists of fish and small mammals, bald eagles are opportunistic feeders, exploiting the easy food source found in garbage. The bald eagle is Alaska's largest species of bird of prey, with a wingspan reaching 7.5 feet, found only in America with estimated 30,000 birds. Bald eagles are more abundant here in Alaska than anywhere else in the United States. With the changing of seasons, this gives me the perfect opportunity to get a little closer.
Here in Alaska, there's actually two different species of eagles. They're the bald eagle and the golden eagle. So we have the obvious bald eagle here. Now, these younger ones right here, they look strikingly similar to the golden eagles. So those are either young golden eagles or actually young bald eagles. They look very similar. But, you know, now these younger ones, they actually won't get those traditional white feathers till they're about 4 or 5 years old. That's when that beautiful white feathering comes in. Bald eagles were endangered and almost completely wiped out in the lower 48 states from habitat destruction, illegal shooting, poisoning, and pesticides. And Alaska's hands weren't clean either.
Over 120,000 bald eagles were killed in Alaska from 1917 to 1953 due to a bounty program aimed to protecting salmon and fox farms. They couldn't handle the eagles ruining their profit margins. We as humans can pillage any animals we want, but God forbid any animal does it back, then it's just chaos. Thankfully, in 1959, that all came to an end, with Alaska becoming the 49th state giving these eagles federal protection.
Now it is illegal to kill, keep, and even possess a feather of a bald eagle. So if you happen to find one, I reckon you keep that to yourself.
They've made a tremendous climb back, and in 2007, they were officially removed from the endangered list. Cruising around the landfill, I've noticed these eagles ripping into something. I could smell it long before I could make out what exactly they were eating. It definitely wasn't trash. Maybe something died. I've never watched bald eagles eat. Here's my chance to sneak up on them and take a look at what they found. I only move when his head is down. I have to be careful, because any sudden movements and the gig will be up. They have one of the best eyesights in the animal kingdom. He's distracted with his meal, so I'm moving in a little bit. Ooh, almost spotted me. He knows something's up. He knows I'm here. He's weighing out the odds, food or escape. And he's sussing me out right now. Luckily, he's a little bit more hungry than he is scared, and he dives back down into the food. Look at him ripping into it. Look how gorgeous these birds are. I just can't see what they're eating. It's clearly not garbage. It's definitely some animal. You could smell it. I'm positioned behind this broken old desk, and I could just see the birds, but I can't see what they're digging into. The smell is casting all across the landfill. Every single eagle in the area is waiting their chance to get a feed. Check out this big one that just showed up. Oh yeah, he's pushing the other ones out. Check him out. He said, I'm in charge. He wastes no time. He's coming right in. Look at him. He's kind of cleared the way. Look at that little hop. He's checking it out, checking it out. Ooh, he says that looks yummy. This one's so focused on the food, I have an opportunity. I grab this old couch pillow, and I'm thinking I'm gonna move a little bit closer, see just how close I can get. I'm eager to know what they're eating. He's staring right at me. I gotta wait my moment. As soon as that head goes down, I'm going. Okay, here we go. Slow and steady. This is great. He's completely focused on the meal. He doesn't have a care in the world for me. Oh, he stopped. What is it, buddy? I'm worried he sees me. I took the risk of moving positions. No, don't fly. Oh, what? Oh, bigger bird came right in. Oh, he said, "Get off my meal." All right, I took this opportunity to scoot up right next to the meal. But I think it's blown. I don't think anything's coming back. Yo, it's a seal. Get out here. So check this out. There's still a bald eagle there. 2 eagles here. Look what they were eating. Come here. So if you're squeamish or anything, this is your kind of chance to either skip along or just close your eyes, because I do want to show you how messed up this is. So if you come in here, right by his foot, right there, you can see it's cut. So all that skin is gone, and I'm hoping these were not illegally harvested, but all their meat's here. There's a chance maybe they got hit by a boat, maybe they had a disease or something to where they were not able to salvage the meat because they had been dead for so long. But discarded in the local dump with these trash bags that you can get. I feel like if it was done legally, there's a lot more better ways you could have done about it. So this is one of those things. The eagles love it, but not their average garbage they're chewing on. They actually got a meal here, like more natural type meal. Go check those guys down there. They're waiting for me to clear out of here so they can go back to eat. As cool as it is to see eagles feeding, I prefer not to be illegally poached animals. This really is a great meal for these eagles. And yes, it is always sad to see animals harvested for their furs, but for the eagles, They're not burdened with how it got here, and just coming out of winter, this is a perfect meal to kickstart their metabolism compared to sifting through all that garbage for the last several months. The trash eagle, the bald eagle, they truly are ultimate survivalists. Coming from Florida, I really am blown away at how common they are here and how adaptable they are. I've really gained a lot of respect for them, but that comes with some added concerns too. Watching them sift through our scraps makes me wonder what we humans could do better as far as how we dispose our garbage and how it affects the wildlife around us. As for the eagles now, with the arrival of spring, the eagles are branching back out into the wild, hunting as they should be, as the way we know them, the true symbols of power and freedom. Thanks for watching. Alaska is notoriously known for its massive mammals on land and in the sea, but also living in the oceans around Alaska are these incredible alien-like creatures that are captured daily by the lowering of the tide cut off from the rest of the ocean and what are known as tide pools. Tide pools here are like time capsules. They hold remnants of ancient ecosystems and offer a glimpse into a world that remains home to these little aliens. My first stop is the Alaska Sea Life Center. These touch tanks are the perfect representation of what we could find in the tide pools. Take this sea star for example. Its 5 arms aren't just for show. These arms are packed with tube feet that allow it to cling to the rocks even when the tide crashes in. It's like nature's version of rock climbing. There's so many different species here, potential species we could come across. We have the fish-eating sea star, the red-banded sea star, the leather sea star, and my favorite, the sun sea star, capable of having 40 arms. 40! Think about if we had 40 arms. Trying to buy a shirt with 40 sleeves? Yikes. This little guy here is a hermit crab, constantly on the lookout for a bigger shell to call home. And these delicate sea anemones, I have as much as a hard time saying that as Nemo did. They may look like flowers, but don't be fooled. They're actually fierce predators using their tentacles to paralyze tiny fish and unsuspecting shrimp. Talk about survival of the fittest. See that little ball of spikes? Yep, you guessed it, that's a sea urchin, and they use those spikes for protection from predators. The only soft spot are their mouths, located on the underside. They have a unique structure called the Aristotle's lantern. That's pretty neat. A set of 5 teeth that they use to scrape algae off rocks or chew through kelp. Woo! Aristotle's lantern. That's something I'll never forget. Wow. So, this is our first starfish. And it's actually not a correct term because they're not fish at all. Now, there's over 2,000 different species of sea stars, which is technically their proper name. And not all of them will actually have 5 arms. The sun star actually will have up to 40 different arms. It's pretty impressive. Imagine this, but then times like 8. It's pretty neat. So they have no brain, no blood, and when they eat, their stomach actually comes out of them. So it comes out, and they'll eat on clams, shells, mussels. What they'll do is when they're trying to hold on to their food, they have these little suction cups. They actually grab their prey and they'll eat on them, and that stomach basically comes out, eats it, and digests their food, and then it will suck back into their stomach or into their body when they're all done eating. And most species can actually live over 30 years. They're crazy little creatures. Now, what they say is also you should never lift them up out of the water because they'll suffocate, right? Which is really weird, really bizarre to me because, see, he's just sitting here out of the water. Now that one's out of the water too for the most part until a wave comes. So it makes me confused because of all the research I've been doing, you should never lift him up, right? Not like that. So here he is in the sun and only get in the water and it splashes over him. Now of course the water will rise and they'll be back underwater, but
It's very interesting, very neat. And they're like little aliens. So cool.
At first glance, these tide pools might seem like ordinary puddles, but if you get a little closer and you'll see they're bustling with life. This is a world of micro proportions where survival is a delicate dance. These creatures have adapted to thrive in this environment. You never know what you're gonna find under each rock you flip. It's incredible how so much life can flourish in such a small space. Oh, look at these little fellas. You boys better get back under something before you get eaten. As you can see, the water's starting to flow back in. That means high tide isn't far away. It's incredible that every single day these creatures do this little dance. They hunker down when the water comes back in, and they wait for the water to flow back out, giving them a whole different ecosystem to explore every single day. Look at this little fish I found. I have actually no idea what species it is, and I kind of wanted to catch him, so I found this little shell. We're gonna check him out. Check him out, isn't he a little cutie? Now, tide pools aren't only a nursery for small fish species, but also baby starfish. Anything baby, anything little that can hide under these rocks, they're gonna live here until they're big enough, so that way they can stay away from all the predators out in the ocean, because you know they're out there. This has to be the community center. Look how many things are in here. And check this little thing out. To this day, I have no idea what that is. I tried to do some research, and the furthest I got was isopod. And it looks like one. Not one that'd be on land, like if you had a bioactive enclosure. This thing lives in the ocean. Look how beautiful the little green thing is. He just looks like a little green pickle. They are so cool. Easily the coolest thing that I found in the tide pools and underneath these rocks. He is the definition of a little alien. He's not a plankton, but he kind of looks like plankton from SpongeBob.
Oh, no. No. I don't want to look there. No, thank you.
Exploring tide pools is like opening a storybook full of ancient secrets. And while it's exciting to witness their beauty up close, remember, we must protect these natural wonders. Leave only footprints, take only memories. And the next time you find yourself by the coast, take a moment to peer into a tide pool. Who knows what hidden world you might discover. Alaska, the last frontier, for good reason. Over 57 million acres of wilderness nestled in amongst its soaring mountain ranges. With spring's arrival, that means one thing that has me very excited. The bears are waking up. Our journey begins at the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, the best place to see animals up close and prepare us for what we could come across throughout Alaska's harsh wilderness. Is a sanctuary, not just for bears, but for an entire ecosystem. Black bears and grizzlies are among the many animals that thrive here. You have moose, bison, ox, coyotes, even porcupines, each and every single one having a unique role in their ecosystem. The animals here live in paradise, the closest thing to being in the wild. They each have massive enclosures, so finding the bears here isn't just a little walk into the local zoo. but we're on the right track. Beautiful, big feet left in the mud here. We're on the right trail. Here's our first set of bears. This first one's dozing off in his cave. He's pretty cute. And now this second one, this one is actually in a rehab enclosure, much smaller so they can monitor his health. Black bears are the smaller species. They're excellent climbers, but we're looking for their big brute cousins, the grizzly bear, and I think he's right over there. Check him out. This is exactly what I hope to find out there in the wilderness. We've just snuck in right before close. We basically have the whole park to ourselves. This was the third time coming back to the bear enclosure. The previous 2 times we struck out. Now this is either JB or Patron. Both grizzlies here are siblings, and they came here in 2004, but they had a sad start to life. You see, their mother had killed a moose calf in a backyard of this man's house, and the man was afraid the bear might try to attack his dog, killing their mother, unaware of these babies nearby. When the man saw these 2 cubs, he immediately called a biologist who wrangled them up, saving them from a miserable death. These cubs wouldn't have lasted long without a mom. They would have starved or became food for a pack of wolves or even another bear. As you can tell, they've thrived here and living the best possible life any orphan bear could ask for. My ambition is to set out and find these bears in their natural habitats. I've always wanted to see bears in the wild. Here's my chance. No better place to do it than Alaska. Grizzlies, black bears, I welcome both. I'm stoked to get into bear country and attempt to get bears into your heart. I can't wait. Made it into the heart of bear country. I've never actually seen a wild bear before, so I got my fingers crossed. With over 100,000 bears here in the state of Alaska, I reckon we have a pretty good chance. Let's hit it.
So this is perfect little stream for any surrounding bears around us. Come right down here, get a beautiful drink of water. Let's test it out. Oh, try some of that. These little trails right here, I'm almost certain are from termites. So it's possible that a bear has kind of come up here and just gone picking and licking at them, because they'll eat all sorts of insects. Ants, grubs, termites I'm sure are on the menu too. Black bears and grizzly bears are omnivores. Actually, the polar bear is the only bear that is a strict carnivore. Now, the reason the grizzly bears and the black bears are omnivores is for one reason: opportunity. They are prime opportunists. They will scavenge for anything they encounter. They'll scavenge carcasses, they'll hunt fish, small mammals, and they love berries. Blueberries, especially blueberries. But they'll even eat small insects, they'll eat grubs, and in the spring, what they heavily rely on is this fresh, dense vegetation like this green, fluffy vegetation that comes up during the spring. That is what gets them through until the salmon arrive. The unbeatable power of water. Thousands of tons a day pounding through these rocks for millions of years. And yet these fish surpass every obstacle these falls throw at them. Every single year, one of nature's most brutal and awe-inspiring journey begins. Driven by instinct to return to the freshwater streams where they were born, salmon travel thousands of miles swimming up streams. You gotta get close because you can't hear over the waterfalls. But the salmon, they're running and they're jumping over these awesome falls, and they're high too. You gotta think what a powerful fish that is. But it's cool. That's good news. The salmon are running. That means there's bears in the area. Fingers crossed. Also, make sure you don't trip and die over these rocks.
By the river, these fish show their incredible strength. These salmon are capable of leaping as high as 12 feet. They use their tails as engines, propelling them through the crushing water upstream, beating seemingly impossible odds. Under these waters, things are far from calm, finding small pockets to rest before making the move forward. Salmon are guided by their sense of smell, homing in on the exact stream where they were born. Scientists call that olfactory imprinting, a biological GPS built for survival. Defying gravity, these fish face challenge after challenge. Strong currents, massive waterfalls, and predators. Where there's salmon, you'll find grizzlies. These bears rely on this seasonal bounty to build up the fat reserves they'll need to survive the harshest of Alaska's winters. But salmon aren't the only thing grizzlies eat. Grizzlies are omnivores, meaning they eat both plants and animals. Their diet includes everything from berries and nuts to small and large animals like rabbits and caribou. Grizzly bears can eat up to 90 pounds of food during peak season. To put that in perspective, that's like eating 350 hamburgers in one day. These massive animals aren't just hunters, they're ecosystem engineers, spreading nutrients through their scat.
That's exactly what I was talking about. So, this is a much more older scat than the one we saw earlier. The one we had seen earlier was real fresh, like maybe 30 minutes fresh. This one's a couple days old. And as I was explaining earlier how they were omnivores, you can see, God, these mosquitoes are terrible. They're not even mosquitoes, they're like these little bugs that leave these big old red dots on you. But as you can see, this is much older, and all this is literally grass in there. That's all it is. It's just vegetation. So, this bear was primarily eating the grasses in the area. Very cool stuff. You can learn a lot from examining bear poop. And yes, I did just grab bear poop with my bare hands. Here, taste it.
Yes, even bear poop has purposes. It fertilizes plants and keeps the ecosystem thriving, a constant cycle of life and death. The name grizzly comes from the grizzled or gray-tipped hairs that gives this bear that distinctive look, giving them that rough and rugged look, perfectly matching that persona of the Alaska wilderness. And it's not just for looks. In Alaska, grizzly bears tend to grow larger than the cousins in the lower 48. They can weigh over 1,000 pounds. Despite their massive size, grizzlies can run at speeds of 35 miles per hour. That's faster than the running speed of an Olympic sprinter. So it's safe to say that's one race you won't be winning. But grizzlies aren't the only species of bear you'll find here in Alaska. The American black bear. Now don't let the name fool you. Black bears come in a variety of colors, from black to brown, cinnamon, and even white. They are the most widespread of any other bear in North America. There are estimated 100,000 black bears in Alaska, making them the most common bear and making the odds of finding some very high for us.
Ooh, good sign. This is a good sign. That's fresh. Fresh bear poop. That means we're close to them. We're on the trail. Hopefully we'll find some. And we found him. So we're gonna make our way right up over to him before he gets into the woods, hopefully. Don't think I'll make it there in time. No, we lost him. We missed him. Shot up into these woods before I could get the car. I didn't want to go too fast, real bumpy. Didn't want to scare him either. Rats. Second time out here. Bears are highly vocalized creatures, and they communicate through these vocalizations like huffs, grunts, and that all too familiar bellow, that whoa, the one that you hear in the movies. And they save that for when they're fighting or to warn the people or other animals, like, hey, I don't like this situation. Stay back or I'll rip your face off.
Allow me to set the scene for you and why the anger coursed through my veins. Just wait. We're creeping up on this beautiful mother black bear and her 2 babies when out of nowhere... Oh, to say I was livid. I was steaming with anger. This is the first time, one of the first times I'm going to see a bear in the wild, and it's with cubs, and some dude thought we weren't going fast enough, and she shot off into the woods, and here we are trying to see where they're at, and they're all scared, and the mom's freaking out, and the babies, they shot up the tree. So we parked right on the side, and when I tell you, this would have been a beautiful shot. We would have rolled up nice and gentle, and there they were. Would have been sitting right there on the side of the road, eating the grass, and it would have been a beautiful scene. Absolutely ruined. Not absolutely, because we got to hang out with them and see them, even though she was on high alert, but it just ruined the moment. And they're such beautiful animals. I'm tired of talking about that guy. But let's give black bears their due respect, especially mama bears. Protecting her cubs make her one of the most formidable forces in the wild. That being said, though, between a grizzly mom and a black bear mom, I choose to face the black bear hands down. Black bears are excellent climbers and often climb trees to escape threats like that jackass in the truck back there. Now, because of the baby's abilities to climb, mother black bears are more likely to retreat knowing their babies are safe high up in the trees. But I wouldn't go out and test these theories like I did. Sneaking up on these bears, it's delicate work because they can smell us way before we can see them. So in this trail, we've seen a couple before. This is the trail where we were gonna sneak up on this beautiful mama bear with 2 babies, and we were gonna drive right by him. And that dude had honked him, scared him off into the woods. We had seen the male running around where I got that bear scat from, but he had shot off into the woods, so we didn't get an actual opportunity to film him. So now we're kind of right before we leave, because we're going to be coming back day after day, and we're going to be spending as much time as possible so I can actually film some things. Let's go see if we can find them. And we found him. Oh my God. There's a mom. And there's 2 babies right there. This is awesome. Oh my God. And so they're eating all the grass. The grass is going to be their main diet throughout the year. They have to eat as much as they possibly can before the winter when they go in hibernation. God, this is incredible. Oh, the babies are so cute. Look at the little babies. They're having it on the grass too. He's like, itch. She'll stay with these cubs for the next 1.5 years, teaching them everything she's ever learned throughout her life, preparing them for a life on their own. During the summer months, black bears are highly active, foraging extensively to build up fat reserves for the winter hibernation. They enter dens in the late fall where they can remain there up to 7 months without eating or drinking. That's where this female would have given birth to these beautiful little fluff balls. This is their first time experiencing the calorie rush, preparing them for their first hibernation. I can't get over how they chomp at the grass, and you can hear it too. It's adorable. I'm so content. I could sit here for hours and watch them. To a lot of people that interact with bears and they see bears in their daily life, I really am jealous of you. This is one of those pinch me moments for me, And it's simply because I came out here with a mission to see bears in the wild, and I've had a couple of near misses and a couple of sights, but nothing prepared me for this. And I almost went a different direction, and I just had one of those feelings where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna backtrack, and I'm gonna go back the way I came. And I literally got to sit here within 10 feet. Yes, I was in a vehicle, but sharing the exact same space as this mother black bear and her two adorable teddy bears. Make no mistake, these are wild animals, and if I gave into my intrusive thoughts and I ran up to the baby and grabbed his face, kissed him on the lips, and just played with him like you play with a baby dog or your cat at home, that mother bear would probably rip my throat out. But it was so special, and they're so adorable. And if you don't love bears at this point, there's something wrong with you, because they are just incredible animals and as adorable as all get out. Bears, I love them. God, so cute. As my time here in Alaska winds to an end, I'm truly speechless. No words will ever begin to explain Alaska. You just have to see it for yourselves. The bears, the sights, the otherworldly experiences this place will give you. Alaska can eat you up and spit you out, but it will also leave you with this overwhelming wonder and respect for the beautiful planet and the animals that we share it with. I'm saddened by my adventure coming to a close, but even more excited to return. For the next time I'm in Alaska, we'll be walking side by side with these Alaska giants. Grizzly bears, black bears, up close and in the wild. Oh my, I just can't get enough Alaska. Anyways, if you made it all the way to this end, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Alaska was so much bigger than I think you watching this may understand. Alaska wasn't just a trip for me or a vacation, far larger than this video could ever explain. For me, it wasn't the end of a chapter, but the end of a whole book, and the beginning of another book. Each of our lives are simply the sum to the equations of choices. I've discovered that my choices have always been what it seems like I should do versus what I want to do. Ultimately, I've always craved freedom, but I've always chose the safe constructural choice. But it's always in that moment of severing those anchors that I felt the most alive. And I think that's why I find I'm always aware of exactly what I want to do, yet never ever choose it. And it was time for that to change. And what this last year was all about. Doing what I wanted to do, what I felt I was supposed to do. There is this quote, "When it feels scary to jump, that is exactly when you jump." That is the essence of what made me leave for Alaska. And Alaska is another world, one I love dearly, but I feel deep in my heart that there's unfinished business back home in Florida. So as I close out this video, I'm left with, once again, another important choice, a decision. But you know what the best part is? You don't have to know. Will it work? Won't it work? Will it happen? What if this? What if that? What if nothing? Why waste all that energy on worrying when you can always go back? You can always change your mind. Something doesn't work? Oh well, try something else. You can always leave. You can try something new. You can retry something old. That's the best part of it being your life. You can be right, you can be wrong, it doesn't matter. We all have lives, and yes, we can't all just up and leave. You gotta do what you gotta do, but you can't let that stop you from doing what you wanna do. My dad told me that once. So here's to you, here's to us, those choosing their own paths, here's to those that have decided they don't care, those being told that it's a mistake, it's too high risk, those who refuse to allow the surrounding world to snuff out their desires. This is for you. My friends, follow your heart and you'll never have to wonder where you belong in this world.